Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, esteemed participants, accept fraternal greetings from the African Union Commission on behalf of the African Union Commission Chairperson, His Excellency Dr. Musa Faki Mahamat, and my humble self. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us in what I realize are difficult circumstances. Many of you will be at home contributing to our joint efforts to stop the spread of the COVID-19 virus. I sincerely hope that these efforts will be successful and that the international community will continue to act strongly and decisively in this struggle so that relations among its members will be stronger and more vital than before in the spirit of Ubuntu, collective responsibility. Adult learning and education, of course, has a role to play in helping us emerge from this global crisis, stronger and more united. I would like to take this opportunity to highlight some key considerations with regard to adult learning and education as an investment for development in Africa and across the world. Let me first convey my thanks to UNESCO and the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning for producing this fourth edition of the Global Report on Adult Learning and Education with its special focus on participation, equity, and inclusion. Grade 4 provides a comprehensive picture of the current state of adult learning and education across all regions by looking into the world of ALE through the lenses of the Berlin Framework for Action and the Recommendation on Adult Learning and Education. These represent the two major policy instruments that guide countries in their efforts to strengthen adult learning and education, or ALE, and realize its rich potential contribution to a range of important social and economic outcomes. Adult learning and education is a key instrument not only in supporting personal development but also in achieving social and economic transformation. In the Declaration of Dar es Salaam, a Pan-African leader, Julius Walimu Nyerere, made a ringing call for adult education to be directed at helping people to help themselves and for it to be approached as part of life, integrated with life and inseparable from it. For him, adult education had two functions. The first is to inspire both a desire for change and an understanding that change is possible. The second is to help people to make their own decisions and to implement these decisions themselves. Adult learning and education also has a major role to play in promoting sustainable development and ensuring all youth and adults have the skills and capabilities they need for work and life and to contribute to society. Ladies and gentlemen, there are positive signals in this regard. The report shows that progress has been made across all the areas of action defined by the two key policy documents: policy governance, financing quality, and last but not least, participation, inclusion, and equity. But it also demonstrates that this progress is unevenly distributed. Much more effort is needed so that adult learning and education can play its vital role in support of sustainable development. If we take a closer look at the status of adult learning and education in Africa, as described in the special report UIL has prepared, we encounter a similar story of uneven progress, underinvestment, and low-level participation among disadvantaged groups. UIL's report shows that both countries and the international community must do more to enhance participation, investing resources, and developing effective policies that draw on best practices in the continent and around the world, particularly in reaching the least advantaged. The African Union is committed to play its role in supporting member states to implement this vision. Some countries in the region appear to be even going backwards, while there has been progress for some groups, notably women. There is a discernible pattern of exclusion of vulnerable groups in many parts of Africa. The report concludes that while funding is not the only answer, there is strong evidence to suggest that the lack of resources constitutes a major obstacle to ensuring access to adult learning and education for all youth and adults. To summarize, it is clear that further efforts are needed to make adult learning and education an effective instrument of social transformation in line with both the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the African Union Agenda 2063, the strategic framework for the socio-economic transformation of the continent over the next 4 decades, the Africa we want. Africa stands to benefit greatly from the development of the learning capacities of all its women and men, youth and adults. I am confident that the findings of GREL 4 will guide policymakers on the continent to position learning and education for adults, starting with women, at the core of their efforts towards sustainable development. The challenges we face globally and across Africa demand nothing less. I wish you all a lively and vital debate. Thank you. Remember, learning expands great souls.